Welcome to Horse Bytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world. It was a big week for five-star competitions with three main shows taking place. Gothenburg saw the final leg of the Western European World Cup League, where the final placing and qualifiers for the finals were decided. Wellington saw an exhilarating Week 7 five-star that featured a super strong field of athletes, and Doha posted its pre-Global Champions Tour five-star with a whole host of top horses and riders. We also saw 4 stars out of Krakow and Vaher, so it was a busy week as 2024 is in full swing. Today we're going to debunk some myths about participation rates at the top level, as well as delve deeper into the mental side of our sport with a conversation with one of our sport's leading mental coaches. But first, let's take a look at this past week's big winners. Hard to say what's the main event, but the five-star at Al Shakab in Doha, the pre-Global Champions Tour event, posted the biggest prize money of the week, with Malin Bayard Jonsson and her famous mare, H&M Indiana, picking up the lion's share of it, winning €135,300 in a super-fast 12-horse jump-off. Next up was the very difficult five-star in Wellington that saw Germany's superstar pair of Richard Vogel and United Touch jump an electrifying jump-off to beat out USA's McLean Ward and Shane Sweetnam for the win. Richie's been on a huge roll recently, picking up his second Grand Prix win in Florida this season and notching another tremendous performance with the truly insane United Touch S. It was over to Sweden for the CSI five-star World Cup in Gothenburg next, the final leg of the Western European World Cup League that saw the young Dutchman Lars Kersten and Hallelujah top the current and former world number ones Henrik von Eckermann and King Edward in second, and Peter Fredriksson and Catch Me Not in third. The four-star Cavaliata Tour in Krakow saw Germany's Patrick Boll and Caramba de Janeiro for the win in an 11-horse jump-off, and the four-star in Vaher saw Italian Emanuele Camilli take the win on Odense Odeveld against a field of 10 in the jump-off. All right, let's take a look at our round of the week. Lars Kersten and Hallelujah for the win in the World Cup in Gothenburg. Young 24-year-old, look at this, look, he's looking down because he lost his stirrup going from 2 to 3. Look at that. Gets it back, on track. Look how good this is. This horse jumped amazingly. I really love this horse. So sporty, and look how fast he was, never pulling on the reins. Slice across this oxer. Steadies up a little bit to this vertical so he can get a good turn. Just around the Longines clock, runs to the last, big kick to the last, gets through the timers. Unbelievable. And look what happened in the warm-up. Henrik von Eckermann, who finished second in the class, fell off in the warm-up. Unbelievable. As you can see, Henrik back up and fine. Horse was also fine. They came back in, finished second. But what a win for the young Lars Kersten against the world number one. By the way, guys, YouTube is free, so don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all our channels. Also, TikTok is coming soon. And sign up for our newsletter on our website and stay tuned for merch dropping soon. The more support we get, the better content we can bring you. Welcome to Showstopper, powered by EquiRatings. How often do you think riders compete in 4- and 5-star Grand Prix? All the time? Once a month? With almost 90 5-star competitions in a calendar year, your average rider in 2023 jumped only 5.5 World Cup or 5-star Grand Prix classes. But there are a few riders who jump far more often. Let's take a look at some of the numbers. Since 2010, there have been only 15 times a rider has jumped 40 or more times in 4- or 5-star Grand Prix or World Cup competitions in a single year. Kevin Stout is the king of participation and jumped more than 40 rounds in 10 of the last 14 seasons, meaning that he shows up on our list 10 times. The maximum he jumped was 47 times back in 2017, while he averages 42.5 during his busiest seasons. Amazingly, Stout didn't win a single 5-star or World Cup class during that busy 2017 season, despite finishing on the podium 3 times. In some of his other packed seasons, he won only 1 time, but managed to finish on the podium at least a few times a year, peaking with 7 times in 2010. The same year, he topped the world ranking list as number 1 in the world. Bertram Allen shows up twice on our list, jumping 40 and 42 times in 2016 and 2017, respectively. Only one woman made it into the top 15, and that was Edwina Tops-Alexander, who jumped over 44 times during the 2010 season, a time when she absolutely dominated the sport in terms of participation and success. And in that same year, Edwina won 2 big 5-star Grand Prix and finished on the podium a whopping 9 times, the most of anyone on our list. We know from a few weeks ago that the average win rate hovers around 23% at the high level. But as you can see, even for those riders who participate constantly, winning at the top of our sport is extremely elusive and difficult. To be in the know, stay tuned to Showstopper each week to get insight and analysis on the top of our sport. Also, don't miss Showstopper stories on Instagram on Wednesdays for a complete analysis of the past week's winners. I have gotten so many questions since we launched the show about how I get my skin to look so glowy on camera. I don't know if it is, but let me tell you, I am not a skincare person. Somehow I missed the memo on proper skincare routine, and I'm not even sure how because everyone else I know, including my mother, loves skincare products. I think I have really oily skin and can break out easily, so I just figured nothing was better than a whole ton of chemicals. Also, as a rider, I figured my face was covered by a helmet, so I just never prioritized it. But I am a no spring chicken anymore, and I figured it was time to actually take care of myself. I knew I'd never be a 45-minute product after product type of person, but I did actually want to help keep elasticity and smooth out years of damage done by riding outside in the sun, all the while without putting too much crap on my face. See, I should have listened to my mother when she told me to wear sunblock. But I actually found something that works great, and it's The Answer Reparative Serum by Symbiome. They say The Answer is powerful anti-aging serum that helps maintain healthy collagen and skin elasticity for a more youthful, radiant glow by stabilizing the skin microbiome. All I know is that it's been my answer to effortless skincare where I actually notice a difference. It balances out the oil, smooths the lines, and manages to do it all with only 6 ingredients from the Amazonian rainforest. Basically, I just look and feel younger, and that's enough for me. Follow the link to learn more about Symbiome and their unique approach to cutting-edge microbiome skincare, and use Danny20 for a 20% discount off your entire order. After so much interest from last week's piece about the mental side of riding, we decided to expand the discussion for this week's Weekly Wonder. 2 major topics riders always seem to want to know are, what are the top professional riders' focus routines before going into competition? And how do you bounce back from a bad round that shakes your confidence? Here to discuss these questions is world-renowned equestrian mental coach and author, Annette Padarakis. Annette has worked with athletes all over the world from amateur to Olympic level. She specializes in helping equestrians create a mindset that builds confident, consistent, and powerful performances in sport and in life. She is here with us today to discuss some basic tips that anyone can use to improve their sport performance. Let's get started with a little bit of general insight. Why do people primarily come to you?
Yeah, good question. At this stage in my career, I have actually a lot of people who are performing already really well. So they ride at top level and they just want to do better. They know somewhere deep down that there is more in there and they want consistency. That's usually the word they use. When it comes to riding at home and actually beyond that, the stuff they do elsewhere, they are not always as consistent. Right? So that really comes down to small details, but how you focus you are, on time you are, connected to yourself, that really plays a big role. Now, that might seem like a little far-fetched sometimes, but when you look at the top level, that is what's required. And being able to focus the whole way around in the ring, that means you need to practice that way more at home. They need to simplify instead of overcomplicate.
Yeah.
So when things go awry, we tend to want to do more or when it's a really important championship, we want to do more. And actually staying true to what works for you, to be able to really feel your horse, stay connected with that and yourself, and just really keep enjoying it, keeping it light, you know?
Yeah.
It sounds so silly, but actually it is really what makes riders perform at their best.
What is your like number one tip to tell people when they do have a bad round or something doesn't go well? What would you tell them as your best advice to say, hey, this is a way to like kind of get you out of that rut maybe that you're in, or had a bad round and you mentally want to get into a better place?
Mm-hmm. First of all, I think if you as a baseline know how your mind works and where it goes off to and what your triggers are, you are more likely to be able to detect that when things go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So awareness, noticing, that's really where it starts. So that is why I very much believe that we all should invest in some sort of personal development to really understand yourself, know what works for you, also know, you know, what's going on in your own mind, in your own body. At the end of the day, it's also then to pick yourself back up and keep going. You know, I can give you all the tools you like, but you know, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
And being able to then to get back to trust, get back to that place within you that says you do know what you're doing. Keep trusting that, because you start doubting yourself, and that's very common, and that is normal at any level, trust me. However, it's those who then dare to step back into that trust again, connect with that again, and keep going and focus on the things that really matter. They're the ones that ultimately succeed.
Yeah, I think self-belief is a big thing.
And it's something you can cultivate, self-belief. You know, it's not something that is, you know, like even, or for some, that's something they really have to work on. But you know, again, that's why you want to invest in that.
Is your approach always the same? Do you change your approach of how you treat each sort of mental case as far as, you know, this rider needs this? Is it a similar thing, or do you actually try to adapt your system?
If I want to approach everyone the same, it doesn't work, right? So for some, it's just saying half a word and they got it and they're off with it, you know?
Yeah.
And for others, it's just repetition and repetition. And that is my job, to not get into judgment, or, you know, I keep looking at the best version of them. That's who I coach, always.
You wrote a book called Winning Habits.
Yes.
Can you leave our audience with your 3 top tips for winning habits from top athletes?
There's obviously a lot.
Not just 3, but what are your 3 main ones?
If I have to mention a few, I would say deliberate training is really key. And when I talk to the top riders, what always strikes me is their focus on being really deliberate with what they do, constantly looking at what does the horse need, what's required here, and they adjust. 2 is a growth mindset. You know, these riders have an incredible willingness to keep improving themselves, and they always say, like, you need to be open to really approach it from all angles, not just the riding and focusing on your horse. You're the other 50% of the team, right? You need to invest in yourself and train yourself on all levels, mental, Rodrigo said today, spiritual, physical, you know, it really can make the difference. And now I think we're getting in the sport to a point where details really make the difference. And 3rd, focus, you know, is something we always come back to. It's a word and a concept that we know is extremely important to do well, and yet what does it really mean to focus, right? Because we always focus on something.
Yeah, it's focusing on the right thing.
That's it. And I think at the top level, it's also about really focusing, like the depth of focus, and training yourself and observing, first of all, where your focus is. So being focused, saying that is not enough. You need to be also here more deliberate and detailed about it, and make a plan for yourself to train yourself. If you have a lot of different things going on, like business, personal life, and riding, of course, that can really dilute your focus. Yeah. And so training that, being observant of it, and then managing that, and constantly, you know, being on it and knowing how to do that, yeah, that can really make a huge difference. Sometimes riders realize that they haven't really been connecting. They have been wanting the horse to do something. And they have been maybe sometimes forcing it a bit. And coming back to actually, you know, this is something you started because you love the horse. Get back to that, connect at that level, and start seeing the horse and meet the horse where they are, not where you want them to be.
Well, that was really valuable insight. And remember, peak performance and success is in the eye of the beholder. Set realistic goals and take it one step at a time. Riding horses is a lifelong sport, and you never stop learning. So watch your idols, keep working at it, and persevere through the thick and thin of it. And now, to help you feel a little less alone, let's take a look at the wild things of the week. First things up, jumping over the jump. Whoa, look at that air time. Oh my God, look at it again. Wow, she gets launched off of that one. Horse is playing, not playing. Whoa! Oh my God, he fell through the fence. Looks like he's up and fine. And this one, whoa, we're leaving a little long. Holy cow, and he cleared it. Can you believe that? Look at it again. Whoa, he totally left an entire stride out and then cleared the jump. That was unbelievable. And look at this one. Uh-oh. Oh, hanging on the neck. Oh my God. Oh, look. Not touching the ground. Not touching the ground. Ground is lava. Ground is lava. Doing a good job. Oh my God, hanging on. Rule is you can't touch the ground. Oh my God, look, hanging on.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Still going. Oh, and he doesn't make it, but he tried. Look at that shot there. What a shot. Those were your wild things of the week. If these bloopers made you chuckle, be sure to hit the subscribe buttons for more. And if you have one you'd like to share, please send it along and get an opportunity to be featured on the show. That's a wrap on this week's Top Highlights. If you have any further questions about the mental side of our sport, feel free to ask, and we will continue to expand our discussion as much as possible. And for more information from Annette Padarakis, check out her book, Winning Habits, and her YouTube channel, Inside the Mind. Stay tuned next week for details of the kickoff leg of the 2024 Longines Global Champions Tour in Doha, the Wellington 4-Star Nations Cup, and a chat with a young entrepreneurial athlete and her use of social media to help grow her equestrian career. And remember to meet us here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central European Time, noon Eastern Standard, and stay tuned wherever you get your socials for constant updates and clips from our show. Drop your comments below, and we'll be sure to answer as many as we can. And follow along all the action as it unfolds here on Horse Bytes, your go-to source for keeping up with the show jumping world.